rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.
Good morning, everyone. This is Gary K, and I'm excited to virtually be with Melody Craigmile, the Vice President of Marketing for Almo Corporation, but we're going to physically be together in 1 week from today, literally in Anaheim, California. I cannot wait. Melody, I know you're excited as well because this sort of kicks off a 2022 tour of in-person actual physical events, regional physical events, which you pioneered. Literally, Melody, you deserve the credit. You pioneered like 12 years ago.
Yeah, we are really glad to be back out on the road and seeing our customers in person. And we did the hybrid event late last year in Dallas, which was a tremendous success. And now it's time for us to sort of get back to our roots now, Gary, and get in person with our customers and friends in Southern California.
Yeah, I'm excited that the tour is kicking off in California. I mean, obviously, it's been a long time since they've had any event out there. This last year's small InfoComm show was in Orlando, and California was shut down longer than any state in the country, I think. So they're going to be excited for us to come there. We're going to talk about the specifics of the event, but I think one thing I think that should be mentioned that I think is a central theme, I think, going forward with regional events. And as I said, you did pioneer regional events way back when with the E4 AV tour 12 years ago. I think that regional events are really going to take center stage. And here's what I think. I think end users that used to come to big national shows won't be coming in any significant number in the future. I think end users is where we're going to see the biggest fall off. I think integrators will always come to shows. I think consultants, designers, but I think end users. So E4, the E4 experience next week in Anaheim is an opportunity for integrators, in my opinion, to bring end users to the show and make it like a big showroom of 50 plus companies and their new hardware.
Yeah, I think so too, Gary. And some of the really, I would say, savvy resellers in Dallas did just that. It's been a while since they've been able to get into showrooms or end users rather being able to go into their showrooms. Or I think more prevalent, Gary, is like people may have showrooms, but the gear's 3 years old in there. They haven't been able to get new stuff, or they haven't been able to refresh their conference rooms with whatever's been on back order during this supply chain crisis. So literally, if you're a reseller in California and you want to have an opportunity to show your end user the latest and greatest in AV technology, this is the opportunity that has been around for a couple of years now. It's going to show brand new stuff that's never been shown before, like Epson's new short throw projector, or we're going to have all kinds of DV-LED walls, which are no easy feat to go set up in somebody's somebody's place if they'll even let you in. Not to mention the expense. So this is really the most affordable way that a reseller can say, hey, let me show you everything I have to offer through my partnership with Almo, whether that be display technology, control systems, media players, digital signage, projection. Literally, that's kind of the fun thing about being a distributor is, we have everything there to show how to be the solution.
Yeah, and it's going to be very familiar. It's going to look like a familiar event, but in some ways it's going to be new because I don't think we've done the E4 experience in California, because when we switched it from the AV tour to the experience, it changed quite a bit because there's a greater focus on application for the brands to show sort of how the products work in application. There's much greater focus on education. You've always said we have this sort of all-star cast of educators. I mean, Chuck Espinoza, who's the most award-winning presenter in our industry, as you know, an ICSA certified everything presenter is going to be there. I'm honored to deliver the keynote. I'm excited about my keynote because it's all about building work experiences and building more interesting experiences to get people to come back to the office. Because I think people got used to working from home or got used to working from
Mhm.
Starbucks, and we're going to have to build those kind of experiences in the office. But you've also got, and all of it, by the way, all the education all day long is CTS certified. So you're going to get lots of CTS RUs. And, getting CTS RUs during the pandemic was kind of easy because everyone was doing webinars. But the quality of education is not the same. We all admit that than when you're there in person. And it is at the Anaheim Marriott on the 22nd, which is next Tuesday, starting at 9 a.m. Come early because we have breakfast. Melody, I want to talk about some of the products because you mentioned Epson short throw projectors. They have actually 6 new digital signage focused projectors that include short throw projectors, which I see going into meeting rooms as well as signage. And I think an interesting application for meeting rooms, and one of the reasons why I think integrators want to come to this show, is Microsoft just introduced the Teams front row feature where you actually have the people underneath the content, and that requires 2 short throw projectors in each room. So I think building conference rooms with front row will be very interesting because it requires projectors. So there's this awesome opportunity for you to start, looking at projectors again, which of course we've been for many years, but I think we got into this putting 65, 75, 85 inch panels in there. So that's one thing cool to see. And then all the DV LED stuff that's going to be there. When we were in Dallas, I was shocked at how many companies brought their all-in-one DV LED product, Melody.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, now that people are really, really getting into this, high flex environment or flex, whatever you want to call it. I was in one of our newer offices as a result of our acquisition with Exertis, and they had a DV LED in one of their larger conference rooms. And I got back to Maryland and I was like, we have got to have one of those in our conference rooms because I'm tired of walking up to the screen looking at the spreadsheets. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, right? So, we got to get something in here that is going to, be more conducive to this flex environment that we're starting into. And I think that's another thing that, with things like DV LED or short throw projection, that's really something the end user has to see. It's really hard for them 100%. To visualize what that experience is going to be different from their 70-inch flat panel or whatever that might be. Because just like for me, I'm in the biz, Gary, and I go to one of our other offices and I'm like, wow, this is so much better. This is amazing. And so that's the kind of thing that one of our manufacturers was talking to me about the other day. They were saying, the great thing about E4 is that you may be working on a project with an end user, but when they come to the event and actually see the applications, that's when the projects start closing because they see it. They know it. They can imagine it in their room. They can imagine it in the application of their team or whoever might be using that, or the medical students coming in to learn in that university. So it's really a great way to close those deals that have been in the pipeline so that they can visualize what it's going to be, the experience is going to be like.
Yeah, and I think DV-LED is going to be a big future part of our market. One thing that happened during the pandemic is the price came down quite a bit, and the availability of DV-LED is significantly increased. There's a lot more manufacturers in the market. You've adopted a lot of companies out there. All the major companies that have DV-LED, especially the all-in-one solutions you have as part of your line card and partnerships that you have. So let's talk about some of the things going on in and around the E4 experience. Obviously, we're going to start with the keynote. And then the show floor opens. But while the show floor opens, there's a host of education going on. As I already mentioned about Chuck Espinoza and him going to be there. So you can get your CTS RUs. But one of the things that you've always done at the E4s is have sort of like other experiences in and around the E4. Who are some of the brands that are doing some of the unique things for the E4 in Anaheim on the 22nd?
Yeah, I just think once more, just back to the curriculum. Of course, we are all CTS RU certified, which I think is an important message to send. Not if you are not CTS, that doesn't mean this is not suitable for you. That really means that we have gone to the extra mile to have the level of credibility that all of our curriculum is CTS certified. So you're not going to sit there product commercial
That's a
speeds
good
and
point.
feeds and things like that. So that's number one. And I think second, surrounding this particular event and kind of moving into 2022, we took a look at our curriculum. And Gary, I just came off of the AVIXA Leadership Search Committee for 3 years, and one of the big initiatives over the past 3 years has been bringing in new people into our industry, new younger AV professionals. So this year we took a kind of a different approach where we have curriculum that's more like AV fundamentals, and then we have things that are along the lines of what you're going to be teaching, which are things are like high flex and hybrid working environments, which is, we're talking about 2-3 years from now. And then your session about cybersecurity, which is so important now more than ever in these AV installations, and especially those end users. I mean, they're going to have their IT department over their head saying, what about security? What about security? And so you're also bringing that. But at the same time, we've got Tom Kerr and we've got Chuck Espinoza coming around and really digging into some of the best fundamentals for an AV integration, conducting a needs analysis, power and grounding. I remember years ago, you and I were fraught with the power and grounding issue at an E4. Putting together a project plan, project management planning. I mean, these are all core things that have to be done correctly, that maybe some of those newer people coming into our market may not have that experience, or they just haven't been out in the field in a long time doing installation. They need a refresher. So we're really kind of divided into the fundamentals, the most up to date, and then also kind of that look down the road 3 or 4 years. And that's kind of the same of what our manufacturing partners are going to be bringing, is their newest and latest stuff, but they're also going to have some of their core fundamental products that are ready to go, ready to ship. So people understand, like, this is what we're coming out of supply chain looking like, and this is what we're going to have available, now until, mid-year, and then going into the InfoComm show. I'm sure we'll see a lot more new product coming down for the fall E4 events as well.
Yeah, and the E4 is always cool because you always have the products that people show at shows but had not started shipping yet, and they start shipping right around the time the E4 rolls out. And you bring up a really good point about the younger people that entered our industry could have even entered while the pandemic's going on, and they don't have those fundamentals, or that as an industry we sort of went away from the fundamentals and started sort of speaking up towards what was going on in the industry and the trends, rather than going back to the fundamentals. So you have both the fundamental education, the AV 101 stuff, as well as the future forward stuff at an E4. So look, the thing is free. There's no cost to attend. There's lots of events going in and around the event, the experience itself. We have, like I said, the education. We have the shows. Most of the brands they do giveaways, and they do like little fun things in and around their displays. It's not a tabletop show. They have working stuff. This is not just like you have static product there. Everything is working, and they show it generally in an application. So it's at the Anaheim Marriott on the 22nd. So it's a week from today. And breakfast is served, lunch is served. So if you come, you're going to get fed. Show up early so that you don't miss the keynote. The keynote starts at 9 a.m. I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to be there live. It's going to be an awesome experience. And of course, if you want to sign up, it's easy. All you got to do is go to e4experience.com, e4experience.com. Melody, did I leave anything out?
Yeah, Gary, just a reminder, we won't be back in Anaheim for another 2 years, and it's been a while since we've been there already. So be sure and sign up, e4experience.com. And, what the show was really about is providing experiences. And I think that this is not an opportunity you want to miss, especially with all that's happened of late. And we're excited to see everybody, e4experience.com.
Yeah, register now, e4experience.com. It's at the Anaheim Marriott. It's free. We're going to feed you breakfast. We're going to feed you lunch, give you a ton of education. And by the way, you don't have to do anything for those CTSs. We're going to automatically process everything for you. Just show up and you'll see all the new products. You're going to see every brand is bringing something new. I will guarantee you that every booth will have something you have not physically seen yet, because all this stuff was introduced during the pandemic, or even since the beginning of this year. All the new stuff introduced since the beginning of this year, you will actually see at the E4 Experience. So e4experience.com. Melody, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
rAVe Radio with Ransom.